Hello and welcome to the Simple Politics podcast. I'm Diane Daniels, and as ever, I'm joined by Simple Politics' Tatton Spiller to discuss what's been going on. It's been a very memorable week in politics. We had quite an unforgettable PMQs this week, and in other news, Reform have been mocking up Lee Anderson £10 notes. So,
You see, hi everyone. For this story,
mm,
I feel like the other day, I was in, I can't even remember where I was in Canterbury, and I found a Whitstable and Herne Bay Monopoly set,
oh,
right? And it's just like the the space and time that you need now to have your own Monopoly set. Canterbury, sure, that's a city. I mean, like whatever, and Chelsea Football Club, and all these different things is fine. But two small towns in Kent probably don't deserve their own thing. And I've just heard, I didn't hear about Reform mocking up a Lee Anderson, but I think it won't be long until we all get our own notes, right? So you can
mm.
have a complete Reform set. Farage is your 50 quid, right? Zia Yusuf is your 20.
Yeah,
Lee Anderson's your 10. I
yeah.
mean, it's got to be quite changeable because Farage is quite happy to remove anyone. Rupert Lowe probably would have been the 5, but now he's going to have to swap round the 5 and just get Anne Widdecombe on there. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, everything's so customizable these days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
do our own ones. The SP set.
yeah.
Lottie, Video Master Lottie at your 50.
Definitely, definitely.
Right,
Yeah.
do we have enough yeah, we do. We can do the 50, the 20, the 10, and the 5. We're all set.
Perfect. Perfect.
I don't know, beyond our coins. Coins aren't customizable. They're proper real things.
Okay, fair. Okay. I was like really digging deep for what could be on the coins, but
Just the king on one side, get his majesty in, and I
a
don't
cat,
know,
a cat. It's obviously got to be a cat, a political cat.
specifically Larry.
Isn't there some other ones?
There's the speaker's one, Mr. Something.
Mr. Whiskers. No, it's not that.
No, it's not that. No.
It should
I think
be.
it's something. It's something political, isn't it? It's some kind
Mm.
of old thing.
Mm.
And then just the SP logo on the pound. I think the SP logo look really good on a little pound coin. No, a £2 coin, bit of space for it. His Majesty on one side, SP on the other side. Let's go, £2. There we
Perfect.
go. That's all sorted. Also, Lee Anderson on £10. I mean, because we can mix it up, can't we? We could have SP and Reform all kind of squished in together.
Contact the Royal Mint immediately.
Oh, it's a collab everyone needed.
Wow, what a way to start. And moving on quickly, let's say hello as we always do. A quick hello to our Patreon backers because what?
There are 50 quid people.
They could be. Oh
Like,
yeah.
just fit all of them on a £50 note. That's the better idea. Lee
Mhm.
Anderson on the 10. All our Patreon backers on the 50. Lottie has been. I'm sorry, Lottie. Lottie's been relegated to the 20 because
Mhm.
actually our Patreon people, they're like, I just care about them more than I do Lottie.
Mm.
It's just how it is.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
Lottie. Like I care about you more than most people, but our Patreon people, we love our Patreon people. I was chatting to a Patreon person on Patreon the other day,
Oh.
and they were replying to a comment that was, I think Rachel's it was called, replying to a comment that I made like literally 6 months ago because she hadn't seen it. Maybe it was even longer ago than that, and it was nice because just a chat, and I'd said something, and then she said something. I'd like.
I know how chats work.
You've never chatted. This is new for you. No, I just really enjoyed it. I just love our Patreon people because a lot of them don't. A lot of you don't engage with us like in that kind of way, and some of you do
Mm.
sometimes. And some of you just miss something for. months and months and months, and then come back and talk about it another time. They're great, and you
Mhm.
help us make this happen. And so, please, if you're not a member of the Patreon, please do consider going to patreon.com/politics and join us. It's like £3 a month or more.
Mhm.
Hey, you want to do £3.50? That's doable. And there's rewards, really good rewards. Like you can talk to us.
Yeah,
That's a good reward.
yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean, often people pay not to talk to me, so I feel like this is a different way of doing it. So that's nice. No, join our community, help make this happen. Help. I mean, literally make this happen. Help support the mechanics of making it happen, rather than just chipping into Diane's "I'm going to be a millionaire" fund.
Which isn't going so
Um,
well.
Does simple money not help?
No. Yes, it does, it does. Yes, I have, definitely cut down my, pepper spending, so that's really good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Well done. You avoid the Aldi trick,
I do.
the Aldi price match trick. Yeah, that's good. I've got a confession to make before we move on. The
Mm.
most popular simple money posts I've ever done included always buy your onions uh, loose. And that's what I've been doing. But they're always too little in the loose
Mm.
thing. And in the bag thing, they're nice and chunky and big. And so it's easy to get the brown stuff off. I don't know what it's called. The brown stuff, the brown layer that you don't want to cook with, that comes off really easily. And then you've got lots of onion left. And sometimes the loose ones are too little and they're too tight. So I've spent more money. On one occasion, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm gonna go for the more expensive way of buying it, and I went for the 3 onions in a bag solution,
Yeah,
and I feel bad about it.
yeah.
Like I feel really bad.
Like, I think there's probably a confessional post to be had from that. So
Oh no, I won't tell anyone.
oh,
This is just
okay.
between us.
Fair. Shh.
I'm
Right.
assuming that Lottie's going to edit that bit out because it was just a personal anecdote, and she won't just keep it in because she's cross with me for
Mhm.
relegating her from the 50 to the 20 because of our Patreon people. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried she's going to do that. And then, so lovely listener, you will know how cross Lottie is because I've just told a story, and if Lottie isn't cross with me,
Mhm.
you won't have heard the story because it was an embarrassing confession. And if she is cross with me, she would have left it in. I won't hear it. That's on. I mean, you will now know what Lottie's wrath is like.
Yes.
And that was the Patreon plug. Lovely people. So that was enjoy that.
Right, we need to keep moving. Let's go to top posts of the week. As you know, it's what we do every week. We look at what we've posted across social media, and we look at really what have been the biggest posts that you guys have been liking, commenting, and sharing. So, Tatton, what's in at three?
Well, in at 3, you say we do this every week, but I don't because this is when I got married, and that's kind of a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Maybe twice if you're silly. It's yeah, I got married on Saturday, and it was really lovely. It's only the legal bit. Like we're having a proper wedding at the end of this month in Italy. But this was legal in Canterbury, just our families, very low key. Went to a lovely restaurant, all sorted. And then the lovely people at SP sent me a present, which was nice, a bottle of fizz. It was very nice and made me smile a lot. And then they put this post up, which I didn't see till like Sunday evening because I'd not been, on my phone that much. Um, and it was lovely. And thank you very much to everyone at SP, and thank you very much to the wonderful Katie for sacrificing so much to marry me.
Oh, well, congratulations. It was a lovely, happy post to put out last week. And those are few and far between these days. And there
There
was,
we are.
yeah, and there was some really lovely comments as well. So I hope, I know it's been super, super busy, but um, I know that you've probably had a peek at some of those as well, and hopefully they've made
No,
you
just
smile.
people are so lovely, you know? And I think it says a lot about our page that like I genuinely care about them and they genuinely care about us. And it's this lovely, lovely thing. I
Mm,
know that times are tough and people argue about stuff and there's
yeah.
all this going on, but fundamentally we have a community that cares about each other and bloody love simple politics.
Yay. Oh,
And the
right.
wonderful Katie, obviously. And I
Yeah.
also bloody love the wonderful Katie. More, not like probably more than SP, just in case she's listening. Hi, babes. She doesn't listen.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, in it too. Right. This is Tatton's post. I'm going to introduce it because I think he's got a lot to say on this too. But this is about the last few weeks. We've generally talked at some point about the communication of our politicians, about how they communicate and how they really get their message across and if they're doing it in the right way. And some have been apologizing in recent weeks for sort of how they've done things. But this was specifically around welfare stuff. So Tatton was having a good look, trying to see if anyone had done a really good explainer on their socials about PIP or the changes or kind of, what their thinking was. And they hadn't, needless to say, they really hadn't. But it did sort of set you off down a rabbit hole of political communication and social media, didn't
I don't know what you're talking about. It was all very balanced. My head's been all over the place with the wedding and stuff. Yeah, like they're just okay, just cards on the table. They're terrible
Mhm.
and they don't want to be not terrible. And that's what I find most frustrating is that we're not on this journey for them to do it properly. And partly why is they don't want to engage with you, lovely listener. Like if you buy a newspaper, you're going to hear from them because they write columns in newspapers, right?
Mm.
And
Yes.
newspapers are great and
Yeah.
lovely, and I love them, but nobody buys newspapers. And hard unless it's the Daily Mail, no one really visits them online in the same way.
Mm.
The Guardian has quite a good online presence, I think. The Telegraph drifts further and further into GB News territory, presumably chasing the people who will be there. So presumably that GB News reform kind of vibe, which is basically what the Telegraph is these days. There's an audience there, that's why they've drifted that way. So that's newspapers, or they go on the radio. So I heard this morning an interview that Nick Robinson did with Keir Starmer on Radio 4. That was illuminating. But I mean, I know I do, but who else listens to Radio 4 in the morning? Like nobody does. So
Nobody.
it's all legacy. Legacy media is where they hang out.
Mm.
Where are you? Where are most people deal with look at simple politics? Listen, we have reached 2.5 million accounts in the last 30 days on SP.
Mm. Wow.
2.5 million accounts. Why? How many people are doing 1 year interviews with us?
Mm.
How many people want to engage with our audience of people who aren't on traditional media?
Mm.
Well, they don't.
No. No, number 10 aren't knocking down our door, are they, saying, "Come on, let's."
Can we do what's going on? How can we reach your 2.5 million accounts? I know that we don't have quite a million followers, but our posts have done all right this month, and they have reached 2.5 million accounts. And and then you go, okay, fine, fine. Listen, this isn't about my ego. This is about how they're choosing to speak to people who do not listen to Radio 4 and do not buy newspapers, which is most people. And I just went around looking at their socials, and they like the Labour one is just like, good news, we've done this, woohoo! Look at us, woohoo! And this is the day of the benefits vote.
Yeah.
There's not one post trying to explain to you what's going on.
Mm.
These are our plans. Oh, but it might be this. Oh, but we're not sure because of this. Nothing. No mention of it. It's the Tories are bad. We're great. Woohoo! Also, UK Labour, your Prime Minister is the most unpopular Prime Minister after a year in the history of time. So, not everything is good news.
Yeah.
Why are you pretending it is? Why aren't you actually communicating?
Mm.
And then you go to the number 10 website, the number 10 one, which might be more whatever. I mean, it's civil service. So it's just pictures of Keir Starmer looking tough, looking like a leader in a high vis with his sleeves rolled up, talking to people, in a school. But we all know they don't visit SEND schools ever. They only visit mainstream schools. So there he is in a pre prepared classroom. It's nonsense. And people, do you know who doesn't do this? Do you know who does go on and talk about their policies and justify them?
I know what you're going to
Nigel,
say.
Nigel, Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
Nigel Farage. Reform,
Mm.
do it. Now,
Mm.
you might not agree with any of Reform's policies, except for Lee Anderson on a £10 note. Everyone's behind that. Everyone agrees that's who it should be on the £10 note. Because there isn't a 30p note. So the £10 note is where Lee Anderson should be.
Mm.
Reform, do it. Reform. When you watch a Reform press conference, and they have a lot of them, Nigel Farage stands and answers questions and explains his policy. And they ask him things he didn't expect, and he'll stand and go, "Oh, do I think this? Yeah, I do think that." Like, no other political party are doing it. Who's the most popular political party in our country right now?
Mm.
Like, without a shadow of a doubt. So, straight talking, explanations, engaging on your own socials, engaging with us to help us explain things, what's going on. Give us an interview with Keir Starmer. We'll take 10 minutes of his time. 10 minutes. He's got 10 minutes. We'll do it. We'll do it in half time. He watches a lot of games, right? We'll do it in half time. Half time of the Arsenal match. But we'll have a quick interview. Done. They're not trying, and it makes me really cross because there's so much uncertainty out there about what's going to happen to whom.
Mm-hmm.
Why not try to reach people where they actually are?
Yeah. So I think we've laid down the challenge. I think we've been really clear. It's been really clear on our page. So I think what we do is keep a watch for some improvements because we really want to say if someone's done something really good, like this is a really good, clear piece here, this is a good post. We want to call out like good practice on this, really, if we see it. So the challenge is,
Let me just say there is some good practice out there because each of the
mm,
government departments has their own page. And the Department of Health and Social Care,
mhm,
it's all right. I mean, occasionally it's kind of ego massage of Wes Streeting just talking, like doing a quiz. It's like, what is that? But because Wes Streeting wants to be, the main story. Because Wes Streeting always wants Wes Streeting to be the main story, much more than the NHS or anything else. Wes Streeting is about very specifically Wes Streeting. But the page did have some nice things about men's health because it's been Men's Health Week or Month recently. Some semi-famous people, and then they were launching a new machine, and they had a little mix on there. It was good, but they have 11,000 followers,
mm.
so they're spending all that money on their socials. These are slick socials to engage with 11,000 followers. So
all they
again,
all they really need to do is talk openly. That's it. It doesn't
mhm.
cost. It doesn't. That doesn't cost much, does it?
It doesn't, and we would engage with them. We
Yeah.
would happily. This is civil service, not Labour. This is civil service talking about what their plans are for the NHS. We would happily engage with them. We'd happily share their stuff
Mm.
with our followers. We have more than 11,000 followers,
Mm.
but not when it's
Yeah. Yeah.
trite nonsense.
Yeah. Right. Whew. Feel like deep breath after that. Felt like we got something off our chests there. um,
I'm
um,
just going to go for a walk, I think.
uh, okay. No,
Is it nice and chill next?
no.
Oh,
At number one, we had several posts this week that sort of matched each other in performance, and they were all had an underlying theme, which is they all were around either well, they all were around Gaza, and they all were around something that was a UK reaction or element to Gaza. So there were a few things that went on this week, Tatton. Do you want to round up sort of what they were and what happened?
I think I just wanted to very the situation gets worse every day in
Yeah,
Gaza.
yeah,
Um every day. And it's a disgrace. And people get more and more frustrated with it. And now we've got to the stage where every politician in the House of Commons condemns absolutely what's going on. At the beginning, there was a reticence. They were saying Israel has the right to defend itself. But as time has gone on, every single person has come off that. So they now say, of course, Israel's got a right to defend itself, but what is happening there is a disgrace. Um,
yeah.
and the people who at the beginning were saying what is happening there is a disgrace, getting more and more and
Mm.
more and more frustrated and cross. And one of these stories is that we have to keep selling. It's not illegal to sell parts for F-35 fighter jets that are going to bomb Gaza, right? So we make these things and we sell them into the open market. And when selling them into the open market, some of them go to planes that are being used in Ukraine. Then we like that. Those are good F-35 fighters. Well done, those F-35 fighters. But some of them are used in planes that are killing civilians, that are complicit in what the United Nations call a genocide. So people are cross.
Yeah.
People are really, really cross. And it feels so impotent because apart from these, we are sanctioning some of the most extreme Israeli cabinet.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
have got sanctions on them. We are calling on everyone to just stop it. We are talking about a two state solution. So often the point of protest in this country is to change the minds of the government. That's why you're on the streets of outside Parliament, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Excuse me. That's why you're on the streets outside Parliament, because you're trying to change the mind of the people in power. But that doesn't do anything because our MPs are impotent in this situation. And they're still selling the F-35s, and they justify that. They completely justify that by saying Ukraine needs F-35 parts, and if we stop doing that, then all kinds of the globe would become a scarier place. So they feel impotent. The government do, and so the protests are getting ratcheted up. People have been on the street every single weekend over this. If you have been on the street every single weekend for 18 months, you would be frustrated.
Yeah.
Every time you hear of a hospital being bombed or people being shot when they're trying to get aid, like it's it's almost impossible to talk about. It's so terrible. And so some band in Glastonbury said something that they really shouldn't. And the reason they shouldn't have said it is because death to the IDF means death to IDF isn't just a name, it is a collection of people. And let's not forget they have conscription in Israel. So you're talking about just killing conscripted members of the public who are presumably you think they are innocent. Presumably everyone can see that the people who are part of this whatever the rights and wrongs, they said it and it was stupid, and BBC got in trouble, and that a lot of people, Kneecap was supposed to be the ones, but they didn't say that much.
No.
Their lawyers had clearly said, "Do not say that much," But CMAT was there chanting free Palestine on the pyramid stage. It wasn't just those bands. And then there was some people that went and sprayed some aeroplanes in at an RAF base, and I think had a crowbar. I'm not sure. And they're now officially a terrorist organization because they're a terrorist organization because they attacked our military infrastructure, right? And if you attack our military infrastructure, that counts as terrorism.
Yeah.
However ridiculous that is. I mean, it's ridiculous that a couple of people on scooters like makes
Mm.
them. There were 3 groups who have been banned this week.
Oh.
2 of them, Diane and I, we looked, didn't we, Diane?
Yeah, we did, and they're horrific. Like, the other 2 groups are just so clearly, oh, yeah.
They're
Yeah,
the worst.
they're the worst. They're the worst.
I mean, you can't be worse than them.
No,
The things they do, and then
yeah, and to
some
put
protesters on e-bikes.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
do understand attacking our military infrastructure is something that a terrorist would do, but this group isn't a terrorist group. So it's just a lot about Gaza, and this will keep happening. There will be more and more and more as things get worse and worse and worse.
And I think if, that the vote yesterday to prescribe Palestine action obviously goes through the Lords today and possibly then comes in sometime over the weekend, we think. And how
There's
clamp
yeah,
yeah,
there's a legal challenge, but
challenge.
then
Yeah.
if it doesn't go through, it'll be the weekend. Yeah,
So I think how that is policed will be the next thing to watch and see, because even a lot of our own MPs in the Commons have said they will they'll still speak out. So, you know
the Spartacus moment.
it's interesting. It's really interesting.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow. Okay. We do, unfortunately, need to keep moving. So we'll move on to mailbag and questions. I've just picked out 2 this week because I think we can spend a little bit more time on them. And the first one, I'm going to be honest, also does speak to Gaza, but I think um, it's a really interesting point because of the vote yesterday around Palestine Action. Evelyn Lilly asks, why would so many MPs be against supporting Palestine? And that's not the case, as we've been chatting, is it? It's about the military.
it's about a rural rule of law, right? MPs aren't against the support of Palestine, or largely they're not. 36 MPs voted against Palestine Action becoming a prescribed terrorist group, which I was shocked at how few that was. But if you take it as the premise of them, this is a group who have attacked and degraded our military, then you know that I understand that rule of law. Maybe that is a terrorist act, and if you do a terrorist act, then you have to be prescribed to terrorist organization. That's the way it is, and that's quite legally, I suppose. That's quite black and white, right?
Mm,
Hamas and Hezbollah are terrorist organizations according to the government, and the things that they did on October the 7th were horrific, genuinely horrific. And therefore, because they are a terrorist, the government sees them as a terrorist group. It is illegal to support them
mm,
because that's what you can't support terrorist groups, right? That's the law. So Kneecap, who allegedly said, I mean, it's alleged. This video and thousands of fans that saw it happen. It's allegedly said that up Hamas and up Hezbollah And again, I understand why. I understand that frustration. I understand. But the question Evelyn Lilly asks is, why are so many MPs against support of Palestine? They're not. They are pro the rule of law. And if you're an MP and a lawmaker, you will vote along the lines of, if there is a grey area about the law, you are saying the law counts. And there are a lot of protesters in support of Palestine who break the law, right? I used to go to a lot of protests in my teens and early 20s. I broke the law.
Mm.
It's kind of hard not to on some protests.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if the police have said, we don't really want you to protest, be like, I quite want to protest. On you go. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
it's hard to protest effectively nicely.
Mm.
You know, you talk about the suffragettes, but you also talk about Fathers for Justice, and you also
Mm.
talk about Extinction Rebellion, and you
Mhm.
also it's important. It's hard to protest effectively legally.
Mm.
Um,
And you get let's not, it's undeniable that you will get more coverage for your protest the
hmm
more extreme it is. That's
hmm
just a fact, you know? Um,
If I protested against Gaza, excuse me, the persecution of Gaza during a barbecue in my back garden, no coverage at all.
yeah.
If I protested by standing in the middle of Whitstable High Street with a big banner stopping the traffic, coverage. If I did that naked, more coverage. You know,
Mhm.
this is why people do extreme
Yep.
things,
Yep, absolutely.
right?
Yep.
Um, so I think almost every MP, I say every MP, I don't know, but I haven't done a survey of all of them. Um, they support lawful behaviour,
Mhm.
and a lot of protest groups necessarily do
Do
unlawful behavior.
yeah.
And so it's not about the cause, it's about the methods.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's really breaks it down nicely. Okay, second question. This was another huge topic this week with the welfare bill being in the Commons. And Liv asks, can you give us a summary of what the bill actually means? And I think Liv means probably what it set out to do. But obviously we know that it's changed this week by quite a lot.
Yes, do we know? Do we? I mean, I don't keep an eye on these things. Do we know when Liv asked this question?
She asked it on the day, on the vote day.
On the day. Okay,
Mhm, mhm,
all the PIP changes, including where you had to get four in a particular place, they were all in the bin.
mhm.
It was actually only a very short bill. It was a 16-page bill. I was trying to read
Ooh,
the. I don't know if you remember the other day there was the police and crime bill that had the abortion measures in it. That was a 368-page bill, right? This is a 16-page bill, and that about 8 pages of which were ripped out
but are they in the
during the
bin or
debate.
are they sort of in a pile, like, to be brought.
No, they're in the bin. They are in the bin. So Stephen Timms is going to do an investigation. He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful MP and a wonderful man. He was stabbed in his constituency office
Wow.
in 2009, I think, um, and he recovered and he just made nothing of it. And he was just he's. I've got a lot of time for the guy. He came to speak to a couple of school groups when I was working there, so I met him a few
Mm,
times. He was just just wonderful. He is doing a review into PIP and into what it should mean.
mhm.
And there were going to be changes before that review
Yeah.
came out. And now there's no changes. There's no mention of PIP in this bill at all. All those plans are in the bin. His report might say, yes,
Let's do that.
yes, the fourth thing where if you can't wash yourself you don't count for anything. Like, he might say that. He might say, who knows? But really importantly, it's going to be a co-production with disability groups, disability rights campaigners, and people with disabilities. So it's going to be much more in sync with what people want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's left? The right to try.
Try work.
So
Yeah, not get
you can give
penalised.
work a go and not lose your benefits,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
people have been worried. And there's other ways of supporting people into work.
Mm-hmm.
And the big problem here, Liv, is that the PIP savings and the universal credit savings paid for the other stuff,
Mm. Okay.
right? They paid for the other stuff. And now they don't. So now there is a cost to the bill rather than
A
a
saving.
neutrality, even a saving from it. And it's like £5 billion, they say. And also there's £1.5 billion from when fuel allowance changes. So that's £6.5 billion. Now, you know the fuss about a £22 billion black hole. £6.5 billion isn't far off a third of that.
Mm.
Right? And look at what the government's had to do, or said they've had to do,
To
to
yeah.
fix that.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
so if you are Liv on PIP, do not worry for now. And I would say worry less about the future, because I think Tim's in collaboration, 132 disability rights, disability activist groups spoke out against the PIP changes. Not a single one spoke out in favor of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if this review is actually properly done with disability groups, it can't come up with measures like
Mm.
that, because you'd have to have at least, if 132, have to have 80, 60, 70, 80 groups that said, yes, we support these measures, which means they have to be more favorable to people who live with disabilities.
Okay. So the review is due back in November 26th, so autumn 26th. So it is a good way off, but
And then they have to legislate after that.
yeah. So okay. Well,
So I wouldn't expect, if you went straight into legislation, which they won't, they'll go into consultation. But if you go straight into legislation, the bill would be ready in July 28.
mm,
Change would probably be in April 29,
mm,
which means they can't make any savings before the next
before the
election
next.
if they don't even make
No.
the changes before then. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fab. I hope that answered your question, Liv. Thank you for that. Um, let's talk about Keir Starmer then. Let's talk about PM Watch, because Keir Starmer, we mentioned it last week. It will have been 1 year this week since he took over at Downing Street. This whole welfare bill has just been a real not a great way for him to run into the year anniversary, really, because it was messy, it was really chaotic, because lots of his party weren't for the bill, and he kept making more and more concessions to try and get it over the line, even though, as Tatton's just explained, it's now down to the bare bones of a bill, really, that doesn't do very much. There's a lot of chat about Keir's own authority. We saw a very upset Chancellor yesterday. How do things look for Keir Starmer, really?
Well, first of all, the Chancellor was upset about a personal matter. Apparently, that's what they've all said, and no one's made any suggestions. Not Chris Mason, the BBC guy, said he spoke to people who didn't know what the personal matter was, and they did not tell him,
Okay.
but they were supporting the idea that it was a personal matter.
Personal.
And apparently she had some words with the speaker at some point. But if you're struggling with a personal matter,
Mm,
you might be a bit snappy with people. I mean, listen, it's me. definitely can do that. So, but as a symbol, and that picture's we're recording on Thursday, and that picture is on the front page of every single newspaper as a symbol of a year of Labour.
Yeah.
It's really poor. But if she hadn't been there, the story would have been that she wasn't there.
Mm.
But the Prime Minister has come out and said that she will be Chancellor into the next election, which is quite a big thing to say. Like, he's going to stick with her for 4 years no matter what. Well, I mean, we'll see. But he can list loads of things he's done, breakfast clubs and waiting lists and free school lunches, all kinds of things that if you allow him to list, he will. And Kerry Badenoch keeps giving him the opportunity in Prime Minister's questions just to list all these things. Amazon have spent 40 billion
They're going to
on us.
invest. Yeah.
They're going to invest 40 billion, and there's that fairground ride they're going to build in Essex. All this stuff. But then also, this is a government who, within 20 days of being elected, had to boot out 12 MPs because they'd voted against them. And then one MP left the party. And some of those people are still a year on outside the party. We've got winter fuel allowance. We had more rebels on that. And now they've U-turned on that. We've seen Reform go up and up and up and up. Labour lost an incredible number of councils and seats in councils. We've seen the farmers be very unhappy. We've seen tax rises when the suggestion was they wouldn't raise any taxes beforehand. And they say, no, look carefully at the small print. We only said these taxes. But it's like, you didn't get elected on small print. You got elected on big print. And the big print was no tax rises on working people. And then this welfare reform that's been rumbling on for so long. The polls are saying that if there was another election today, Reform would win it. Although they did say that it would be a hung parliament.
Yes.
It's one of these polls that asks like loads and loads of people, so they can be much more specific and be seat by seat. Hung parliament.
Did we have?
There is never.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, a year ago, I remember very clearly when we were covering election and results, and I think it was Charlotte actually put together a post around it's a Labour government for the first time in a while, and the firsts and the first
Yeah.
female chancellor, the
Yes,
first
really my mood.
all these good things, like, really, I don't know, that felt so much positivity, and there felt like the Conservatives at the end had been marred in a number of different things happening and scandals, that I think the expectations on Keir Starmer's government and what he would do in a year were so incredibly high.
But I think all of that, we as a country were so sick of the Conservatives, and Labour got elected on not being conservative, and their slogan was one word: it was change.
Change. Yeah. Yeah.
That was it. That was what. And so once that happens, and you've booted the Conservatives out, you have no real mandate to do anything. No one was really paying attention to any policies. We know that when we wrote about policies on the page, nobody cared. Even less, like in other elections, they've cared much more for policy comparisons. But in this election, nobody cared. No one wanted policies. No one wanted detail. No one really wanted anything except the Conservatives gone. And that's what they got. They voted for that. That's what they've got. But now we've got this mess where the conditions are really tricky. Still post pandemic, still post cost of living crisis, in cost of living crisis, still high taxes. It's razor thin, but we signed up for this by not paying attention, by voting for the party that wasn't blue. And it's they're deeply unpopular because there's no one path for them to take because they haven't got a home space anymore.
Mm.
Like, you had 36 MPs voting against the government yesterday. You can like you if you remember names, you could name all 36 of them, right? 12, 15, 16. So it was still in the Labour Party. Like, they've not been kicked out. They've voted against the government repeatedly. They've not been kicked out. 49 MPs voted against the government on the welfare bill. They've not been kicked out. This is a weak MP,
Yeah.
PM, who can't control his party. He's got no relationship with his party. His cabinet ministers are sent out to play, but not effectively. He needs to sort it out.
Mm. But he's not at risk at the minute. There's definitely no, you can't. When you look at the Conservatives and you look at Kemi, and even though she's very recently Conservative leader, there are people positioning. You can see it. You can see it on the videos that they're creating on
Yeah.
social media. You can see Philp and you can see Jenrick still hanging around, and you can see people who would be definitely,
And cleverly still making moves.
cleverly, absolutely, but not so much in Labour. So,
Well, that's partly because the Labour Party have no systems for getting rid of a leader.
mhm,
Conservative Party, you put in a certain number of letters, like a quarter of of the MPs have to hand a letter in some 1922 committee. No one even knows who leads that these days. Is it Bob Blackman? Nobody really knows. Might be Bob Blackman. And then the Labour Party have no mechanism. All the cabinet quit, and the whole party votes to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn. And Jeremy Corbyn went, "Oh well, that's interesting. Now I'm going to carry on as prime minister. Thank you very much." Not as prime minister, as leader of the party. Like, so there's no, and also there's no. I know Wes Streeting fancies himself for the job, but Wes Streeting fancies himself for pretty much anything. There's no particular, no one there's no leader in waiting,
no. Mm,
Um, like, often parties have people like Liz Kendall, who was being particularly inept and completely undermined by the Prime Minister in the welfare bill. She ran for leader.
wow.
In a different universe, she was leader. Obviously, I mean, didn't happen. So no, he's not. But something's got to give.
Mm,
Like I said, top of the show, he is the least popular prime minister after 1 year since polling began
mm.
because no one really liked him. They just really wanted to get rid of the other guys.
He needs a big win soon.
To be fair, so did Kent. We're really struggling at the moment.
Oh, right. Okay, let's have a look at what the future holds, the crystal ball section. Anything in your crystal ball this week, Tatton?
Well, I mean, the Universal Credit and PIP bill, the whole thing is back next week because it was all going to be done in front of the whole house because it was also important and it was also big and it's all going to be big controversies with all kinds of amendments laid. But I mean, now it's going to be pretty dull. So, and
Mm.
I can see from the script, which I always read, it says that Diane's got the women's Euros, and I quite like to talk about the women's Euros, but I don't get to.
Okay,
Diane,
I'll do wheels. I'll do wheels.
well, no, I mean, it's good. We've got Test cricket. We've got the British Grand Prix this weekend. We've got Wimbledon going
Wimbledon.
on. We've got the Club World Cup that no one cares about, but Chelsea might do okay, and so I care about a bit, but I don't admit it to anyone. We've got Kent haplessly losing all the time. Is there any other sport going on, Diane?
Yes, yes, there's some UCI mountain biking. That's not what you expected me to say. Um,
I do like watching the mountain biking when they're coming down these
oh, yeah.
ridiculous things and racing. It's not as good as the cross country racing because they're racing wheel to wheel in the cross country.
No, but it's you against the clock on downhill. I love it. So good.
I find you against the clock ones, all you against the clock racing to be a bit dull. Not dull, just
No.
because you watch them, it's amazing. But wheel to wheel racing,
We beg
I
to
think
differ.
is the
Beg to
best.
differ. So what else is happening? It's the Women's Euros. So
Woo!
we've got even more incentive to want the home teams to do well because if they do well, the pubs get to open later at some point. I can't even remember when. I think semis onwards. There's some extra
But the
pub.
thing is,
Mm.
it's in Switzerland, so all the matches are done by pub closing time anyway. It's not like it's in America, so you just get to just get drunker, right?
Yeah.
If you win or if you lose, you just get to sit and slump and drink spirits and
Mm.
and cry,
Yes, there
and they
could
can
be
stick.
a karaoke Sweet Caroline at some point, I'm sure.
Oh God, please don't let that happen.
But Wales are up this weekend. It's all Saturday matches, which is nice. Wales play the Netherlands. Go, you can do the next fixture. This is like proper sports reporting here.
And coming up after Wales play the Netherlands is France versus England, and of course that's in the same group, and we'll see who wins there. Just a quick spoiler ahead of that game: it won't be Wales.
I'm so sorry, Wales.
Also, it's coming home. It's coming
Yay!
home.
Oh, well, it's lovely to end the podcast on a positive. Good luck to the home teams taking part this weekend. And join us, and maybe we'll do some post-match analysis next week on the pod.
I think next week I'll just be shouting, "It's coming home."
Okay?
Because while it's still the group stages, anything could happen, right?
Anything.
When no one's been knocked out, I don't know what the Welsh equivalent of "It's coming home" is. Did the super furry animals write anything? Maybe they did.
Yeah,
If you
maybe.
don't want me to destroy you, I mean that's similar.
Yeah, yeah. They got
Yeah,
Hometown Unicorn. They did Hometown Unicorn.
they
That's for
did,
sure.
they did, or just bread of heaven.
There we go. Perfect. Good. Right. Join us for more of this nonsense next week, lovely listener. And we'll see you then. Bye 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 bye.
Bye 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 bye.